The Astros come back to Minute Maid Park. They win a tight game 4-3 with the help of Yordan Alvarez, a Yordan bomb. I am joined by the incomparable Rip Griffin from the Rip Griffin podcast from Victoria, Texas. And we have got your wrap of game one against the Cleveland Indians. And we'll talk about game two and who got called up to Sugarland. So come with us. Check us out. This is Locked On Astros. We start now. It's not going. Where is my intro? Where is my intro? It is not going. Boom. Go. Oh my God, this is so weird. All right. Where is my intro is not going, dude. This is so weird. Oh my God, what do I do? Uh-oh. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on? How
you doing? Where is my dang intro at? This is strange. Okay, well, no intro. That's right. I brought the secret stuff. How embarrassing. I know I am squared. I was squared. It's okay. Things happen. Technical difficulties happen. I do not even know what's going on. But hey, we are here. We are Locked On Astros. I am Htown Wheelhouse. I am joined by Rip Griffin from the Rip Griffin podcast. Rip, tell us where they can find you on Twitter.
So you can find me on Twitter at Rip Griffin Chew. You can find the podcast at Rip Griffin Show. So I'm on Twitter. Give me a follow. I'll give you a follow back, and we'll talk some baseball.
Definitely. And today's show is that you can find me at Htown Wheelhouse on Twitter, at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stro. Yes, we will talk about the trade deadline after we do a wrap of this game. This episode is brought to you by Locked On MLB Prospects. Locked On MLB Draft Season. Our MLB draft season is here. We've already had the draft, but Locked On MLB Prospects podcast is covering every future star of the MLB. Host Aram Layton brings you player interviews and farm system breakdowns every day. Subscribe to Locked On MLB Prospects on the Audacity app or wherever you get your podcast. And so today, Rip, we're just going to jump right into it. The Astros win a tight game 4-3. I feel like it should have been a little bit bigger gap, a little not concerned, but I guess a little blame goes to the ref that called a fourth ball on a strikeout that should have happened that allowed that third run to let the Indians inch closer. But all we needed tonight was a 1-run double, and then we needed a 3-run bomb by Yordan Alvarez. It was great to see him have a good game despite fouling a ball off his knee, which looked like for a second, I didn't think he was going to continue. What did you think about Yordan Alvarez tonight at the plate?
You know, it was good to finally get him back into the swing of things. He'd been slumping as of late. You know, he just recently became a dad again. So, you know, a lot of dynamics have changed at home. So it's one of those things that he just needed some time. And I think Dusty has been so confident in him, moved him up into the top of the lineup there in Chicago, kind of hoping to kind of generate some mojo, just like the Nationals had done with Kyle Schwarber. And it finally it kind of paid off a little bit tonight. He hit that long bomb, which was great to see. It's been a while since we've seen a Yordan bomb that high, but to get him back into the swing of things, to kind of get him, you know, grooving, and you know, he's got those 44s tipping, and that's what we need. We need him to continue to do.
Exactly. Now let's see if we can do this intro. See if this happens. Nope, nothing. I can't get it to work. This is, oh well, whatever. It's all good, man. This is insane. I don't know what's going on with my graphics tonight, but you know, we are here, Rip Griffin and myself, Htown Wheelhouse. So let's just get back to business here. So wow, when things go awry, it really throws you off in the brain. But we'll just keep rolling because this is some really bad audio right now. I'm going to have to cut the audio big time on this. But so with the Houston Astros here, we saw a really tight game up close. You know, the one solo home run that Greinke gave up to Franmil Reyes, that guy just crushed that ball. It was a hanging curveball, I believe, or slider. I don't know. It was a changeup. I don't know what that ball was. It was slow. It was in the middle. It was right in his wheelhouse, and he crushed it to the Crawford boxes. We had 2 hitters tonight with multiple hits. Brantley with 2, Alvarez with 2. And have you heard anything on his knee?
I don't know. I was kind of watching the post game interview with Dusty, and I don't believe it's his knee. He was mentioning something about his hamstring. So
Okay.
maybe there might be some leg issues when he was kind of coming into second off that double, that maybe he might have tweaked something, but he didn't go into the clubhouse to get checked out. He was back in the dugout. So maybe it's one of those things that maybe just some stretching might kind of get him back into the swing of things, but it doesn't look to be too serious right now.
Yeah, that's good. You definitely I think after a 2-for-3 day and a home run, I think you give Alvarez the day off tomorrow. I would not be surprised if he sat tomorrow for the game. I would not have a problem with that. Larry, the GM, asked us, and guys, I would put up the comments. For some reason, I've got a lot of things that aren't working properly. So Larry, the GM, asked, why are Garcia and Maldonado batting in the bottom of the 8th with runners in scoring position and in a 1-run game? That's a good question. Those are the things that we wonder about, the moves or lack of moves that Dusty makes or doesn't make. I've said it before. I've said it again. I'll go ahead and go with Dusty. He's our guy. He's our manager. But Rip, there are so many times that he makes decisions. I have a hard time believing he actually has a game plan. Like, we got so used to AJ Hinch being so methodical about what he did, his lineup, who he put in, the matchups. I mean, he was very, very much a thinker. Sometimes overthought it, sometimes made moves, I think made too many moves that ended up hurting them. Obviously, Game 7 of the 2019 World Series, Will Harris, things like that. But at the end of the day, we ultimately trusted the direction of where he was going. I don't know that Dusty has a direction. I just think, and I don't think it's because he doesn't know what he's doing. I think it's just he's been in the game so long, and he's probably done so much thinking over the years. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off base, but it just seems like some of the moves are just suspect of, what are you doing?
Right. And I think Dusty, like someone just mentioned, Dusty's old school, and Dusty kind of goes on his gut, and the game has changed so much as far as analytics that he's not really quite in tune with that. And he feels that the guys that are on the field are the best guys that could get him through this game. And, Garcia and Maldonado, we saw Castro come up the other night to kind of take his place. So maybe he's giving, obviously he's giving Toro a break. So Toro needs a day off, but Dusty is Dusty. And, sometimes we question his moves and his motives, but he is one of the best managers that has been around for a long time, but I really think it's just that old school mentality that he just doesn't want to just relinquish.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I can't put the comments up, but Johnny Munoz says that Greinke was taken out because the score is 4-2 with 1 out and runners on third and first. And so I thought they took Greinke out a little early. I would have liked to have seen Greinke staying there. I mean, he earned it. And it's just one of those things where, tight games like this, I think we tend to nitpick, but what else are we going to do other than kind of break things down and see what makes sense, what doesn't? I know at the game, I was surprised. Mejia seemed to have the Astros on their toes. I mean, on their heels, not on their toes. They weren't on their toes. They had 8 strikeouts. They had 1 home run. They only had 4 earned runs. They should have had a lot more runs. And so that makes 5 runs in the last 3 games that we've scored total. You want to see this high-powered offense doing more. It doesn't help having Maldonado and Robel Garcia looked absolutely pedestrian at the plate. But hey, so did Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa's at bats looked really, really bad. He did not look good at all. I mean, I couldn't see from my angle the called third strike where he went down looking. The pitch looked a bit high, but the umpire seemed to be all over the place from what we could tell. Of course, we're like in between home plate and third base at the game in the 200 section, so I couldn't really tell. But it seemed like this umpire wasn't really on his game. At the same time, you can't be 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position and expect to win a whole lot of games. Although they did pull out the 4-3 tonight.
No, and that one call when Stanek thought he had that strike 3, darted off the mound, and then next thing you know, it's a ball, and that's where that extra run came from, like we were talking about just a little while ago. But I'm curious to see what the ump scorecard is going to be tomorrow for this game, because when you can't really, the consistency tonight was just like you mentioned, the ump was all over the place. We saw some good calls, some bad calls, but a lot of bad calls, honestly. But I just really think I'm curious to see what tomorrow is going to bring as far as the scorecard, to see what it looks like. Because if it's anywhere, if it's below 90, I'll believe it. But you never know what those things look like, anyways. But yeah, poor umpiring tonight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you one game put Straw at short for 1 inning, put Correa at third, and let Straw bat for Robel Garcia? I mean, you got Chas McCormick already in the game. I mean, you're obviously, if you're not going to play Toro, play Miles Straw. I mean, I know he went out in the field, but he can play short. Let Carlos play third base for 1 inning. Why not? Robel Garcia, I think, will be DFA'd at some point. He's got to be when all these guys come back. I don't see how you keep him. Toro is going nowhere. Actually, neither one of these guys is going anywhere until Bregman gets back. That is why everybody's like, why is Robel Garcia on this team? Well, he's on this team because Alex Bregman is hurt. That's the only reason why he's getting as much playing time as he is. And Toro is just not, Toro hasn't been doing great defensively either, where he has had flashes of brilliance, but he's still anyone's a downgrade on this team compared to Alex Bregman. And I know he's working hard to get back. One of the things that I want us to kind of hit on too is, I don't know if you saw the reports about Josh James had a setback.
Yes.
And so did, was it one other pitcher had a setback as well at the minor league level. So these guys trying to come back are not too successful right now in coming back. But do this for me. Find that other pitcher, and I'm going to tell our listeners about Rock Auto. If you do not have a reliable vehicle, or if you do have reliable vehicle, but you don't want to go down and spend an arm and a leg just to change your brakes or just to get new windshield wipers or whatever it is you need for your car, you need to go to rockauto.com. They don't upcharge you. They don't charge you a different price tier because you're not a professional mechanic. An everyday guy like myself and Rip, we need to make sure that we're saving money. So Rock Auto can save you 30, 50, sometimes 100% more on your auto parts. So take, for instance, a Honda Odyssey fuel pump, that $353 at a chain store. Rock Auto, it's only $216. That's a big time savings. And if I'm trying to fix my car or truck, I'm going to go to rockauto.com. They've been around for 20 years, family owned, easily navigable website. They have reliably low prices. They have all the parts you need for your car. When you go there and you get the part you need for your car or truck, write Locked On in the How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selections, reliably low prices, and all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. One more thing I want to tell our guests before we get into this is, if you are in the Houston area, if you are around the Gulf Freeway, Hooters of NASA is the place to go. Right now, they have some great deals. Do you really love bites of food? We know that even if you're not into spicy, if you're not into hot, that's why all of our seriously craveable flavors are the best of the best. Wings, burgers, shrimp, all the things that make you drool. That's right. Home of the ice cold brew. They have featured beers. Come in for a ice cold Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Dos Equis, or Guinness. They're our featured drafts on tap. They have so many things. The Hooties picks for the beers of the month. the Angry Orchard Crisp Apple Cider, Bud Light Light Lager, Ziegenbach Amber, and Michelob Ultra. If you go to their website too, you can sign up through your mobile device for $100 in free Hooters food. So go check out Hooters at 2796 Gulf Freeway in Webster, Texas. Go watch the Astros game. Go watch the college football games coming up here pretty soon. The UFC fights, they've got it all. Check them out at Hooters NASA. Tell them that Locked On Astros sent you. All right, so who is this other pitcher that was struggling? Were you able to locate that?
Yeah, so the other one that's struggling right now is Andre Scrub.
Okay, Scrub had a setback as well. Okay.
So, yeah, they've both had a setback and will be out. Doesn't say for how long, but one of those things, there was also something else that was posted that was actually someone asked Dusty Baker about Josh James, about the possibility of him coming up to the Astros. And the only thing is really cryptic, but he said, we'll see. So I don't know. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I mean,
I swear, his tweet, his comments, he is, and I've said it many times, he is the John Madden of the MLB. He says things. I mean, him and Charles Barkley and John Madden have a hall of fame of just radio gold out there, the things they say. It's just, it cracks me up. And sometimes I wonder, is Dusty pulling my leg? Does he really think this? It's just one of those things. So we've definitely got some issues. With that being said, if we're having issues with guys coming back, then the need for a pitcher, whether it's a starting pitcher or relief pitcher, goes up. The discussion we're going to have an extensive discussion. Hopefully it's not too long of a podcast, but long enough that you get pertinent information. One of our listeners, Larry the GM, is going to join me Thursday. We're going to have an early show around 6:15, 6:30ish, and we're going to talk about all things Astros, trade probabilities, who makes sense, who the Astros are thinking of, and all that stuff. We do have hitters down in AAA. We do have guys, Jose Siri, who strikes out a ton. We have Jake Myers, who's crushing the ball. CJ Hinojosa, who's a Houston product, who's crushing the ball. We've got a lot of guys that are hitting for power. You just wonder where you would slot them in if you brought them up, because really where we're needing someone is a third base position and catching. Right. You're not going to bring up Stubbs. He wasn't performing well with the bat at the major league level. So who do you bring up, and what do you do with all these different things? So hold on. Go ahead, Rip. Take over for me.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on right now, especially down in AAA Sugarland. There's a lot of great players that are, on the fence that could be brought up at any point in time. September call-ups are coming up, so we're going to see a lot of these prospects, in Minute Maid Park. It's going to be exciting to get if you haven't had a chance to actually go check out these guys down in Sugarland. I actually had the opportunity to see them in Round Rock a couple weeks ago. They look great. Brian De La Cruz is another one that could definitely see some playing time in Houston here pretty soon. We touched on, Jose Siri, and of course there is a call up that happened today. I'll let you kind of touch on that one here in just a minute, but a lot of great things that are in the works down within the farm system, so it's exciting to watch these guys in action.
No, yeah. So we had Pedro Leon called up today and made official. I know Michael Schwab broke it before everybody. He kind of said, "Hey, I have a feeling that he's going to get called up," and I'm pretty sure he knew. I know there's been some ongoing discussions with between myself and other people about Schwabiness, and I'm telling you, the guy does have reliable sources. I know that for a fact. But anyways, Pedro Leon coming up. I know some people have said, well, I hope he's not being moved up as a trade piece to like showcase for somebody, because more than anyone, I want Pedro Leon more than I want Jose Siri. Jose Siri just strikes out way too much for me. I think Pedro Leon offers way more to be desired down the road. But how many at-bats does he need? I know Phil Seelig, who does all the Cuba baseball stuff. He's a photojournalist that we've had on before. He said a guy needs about 185 at-bats in Double-A before he moves up. and I believe he was under that. So he is on a really fast trajectory. You wonder why, like what the motivation is and why he was moved up so quickly, because they've got so many guys hitting at Sugarland and hitting the ball very well.
Yeah, it's where's he going to play? I mean, you've got Alex Degody that's doing pretty well. Like we mentioned, CJ Hinojosa is doing well, and that lineup is just stacked. I mean, we've got Jake Myers out there, like I mentioned, Brian De La Cruz, Jose Asiri. I mean, all these guys that are in the wings right now waiting, but where is Pedro Leon going to fit into that? And that's going to be the key question as the Astros continue to look at their farm system and Sugarland to figure out what can he bring to the Astros in the near distant future. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything how the tables turn and what the Astros do with Pedro Leon.
No, yeah, and like I'm going to mention something that one of our listeners, I can't spit it out. One of our friends of the show, Johnny Munoz, says, but Larry the GM said he's doing it so they're doing it so that he can be ready for next year. So they're kind of moving him up. But one of the things that Johnny Munoz mentioned here is Greinke is 20-7 in 42 starts as an Astros pitcher. That's not too bad. I mean, I think we've gotten a lot of value out of him. I know a lot of people said we gave up a lot to get him. We gave up too much. I really don't think we gave up too much. I mean, we may not know what Seth Beer becomes or if he becomes anything. JB Buskakis, I mean, will he become a pitcher that's effective? Corbin Martin, after he comes off of Tommy John and recovers, how will he react? We know Josh Rojas is a major league player. He's on the Diamondbacks roster and he's doing fairly well for himself. But I think for what we've gotten out of Greinke, you can't ask for more. And 80% of the games that have been played by Pedro Leon have been at shortstop. And I do know that everybody's wondering, okay, if they're going to play him at shortstop, then does that mean that they're not going to sign Carlos Correa? Before we get into that talk, you need to go to Spotify Green Room. Green Room is the first social media audio platform made for sports fans. The app is free to download. And once you're in, you can talk with me, other fans, athletes, and insiders in real time about your favorite team or sport. I know Rip has joined us there. Charlie, Larry the GM has, Johnny Munoz, several of y'all that are on here have joined us, and you get to have your voice heard. So when we record it, we put the podcast up, you can go, hey, I was on a podcast, go check me out. And you can become famous just like us. Yeah, right. I'm not too famous. I'm almost famous, but Green Room is perfect place. You can go there for any talk. I mean, you want to talk NBA, you want to talk NHL. They've got rooms for every sport. And it is truly one of the things. Basically, you go on there when you look to find me, look for Htown Wheelhouse, look for Eric Huysman. Rip, are you on there? Are you on there as Rip Griffin?
I am under Rip Griffin too. So yeah.
Okay. So just like his Twitter handle, you can find him, and every Friday or Saturday night, Eric and I will be on there. You can join the conversation at Spotify Green Room. So let's talk about this. And I don't want to get too much into the woods because we've gone pretty far. Actually, let's do this. Let's talk about the matchup tomorrow night, and then we'll talk a little bit about free agency and maybe what the Astros are going to do going forward, because I don't want to cover it too much because I really want Thursday's show to be all about that. So we have Luis Garcia going against Tristan McKenzie on Tuesday night. Tristan McKenzie is 1-3 with a 5.47 ERA. He has 68 Ks overall, and Luis Garcia, who's 6-5, 3.06 ERA and 97 strikeouts. You would think that the advantage clearly is with Garcia, but it looks like neither team has faced either pitcher, so we don't know how we're going to do. I'm anticipating Yordan Alvarez to be out of the lineup tomorrow, to be resting, which would be smart. That's the one time I would say sit Yordan Alvarez. Don't play him in the outfield. Don't DH him. Don't even pinch hit him. Just let him rest. And then heck, put Chas McCormick and Miles Straw out there and let Michael Brantley DH. I mean, Michael Brantley's still swinging a good bat. And why not go that route? So do you think the Astros take game 2 of this series?
I think so. I mean, you've got Luis Garcia on the mound, who's been pretty effective this year. I like to get him back on track after that first half that he had. So I think that he's going to be locked in. He's fully rested, just like everybody else, just like all the other pitchers. So I really think that Luis Garcia, excuse me, is he's going to be pretty dominant, like you mentioned. The Indians haven't seen him yet, so I think that we kind of can play that into his advantage.
Yeah, and so one of the mentions here is from Mr. Corona. He says, I'm anticipating for Carlos to continue his slump. Carlos Correa, I mean, he looked really bad at the plate tonight. He looked very indecisive. Both third call strikes where he either swung or half swung, he looked very hesitant. He didn't look comfortable at the plate at all. Players are going to go through this. The good thing that you have is you have a powerful offense, and you have someone like Yordan Alvarez where you may not have him tomorrow night. So something's got to change where we just got to get better. This is still the top offense in the league. This is still one of the top. We top to bottom, even with our weakest hitters, we're still one of the best lineups. We can steal bases and all that stuff. But getting into the trade talk, like I said, I don't want to get too far into the woods of this because I really want to have an extension conversation Thursday. But do you think the Astros, Rip, in your opinion, should go for a starter or go for a reliever or try to go for both?
Well, I really think they need to focus on the bullpen because that's been the Achilles heel this season. Guys have come up, have been back and forth here and there. It's struggled at times, but also too, it's been a pretty lights out. Now, one of the things that there's a lot of players that the Astros can go after. I mean, obviously, Craig Kimbrel is one of them. Starting pitcher would probably help, considering that Jake Odorizzi hasn't really quite panned out to where we want him to be. So they could go either way. It kind of just depends on who they want to go after and what prospects they're willing to give up in the process, because we got guys like I mentioned in the wings down in AAA that are getting ready to make an impact with the big league club, and the Astros are going to be back at full strength next year in the draft. So they want to try to build up the farm system as best they can. So it kind of depends on which prospects they have to give up to either land a Kimbrel or maybe one of those wild card stellar all-star starting pitchers I won't name right now.
Kind of like Max Scherzer. Is that who you might want to name?
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
Max Scherzer and Daniel Hudson, or Max Scherzer and Brad Hand. Package those two guys. Hey, Max Scherzer, Trey Turner, and Brad Hand for Carlos Correa, Hunter Brown, and Corey Lee.
Whoa! You would give up?
I'm joking. I'm half serious. I'm kind of saying this to see what kind of reaction I can get out of Larry the GM, because I know he's listening and watching. But I mean, those are the things you have to think about. If you want to go out and get big names like that, they're not going to take nothing in return. Of course, right. I know, no way. I'm totally joking. I'm not being serious. Man, people are losing their crap right now. What did he just say? Yes, Pedro Leon, Corey Lee, Hunter Brown for Max Scherzer, Brad Hand, and Daniel Hudson, and Trey Turner. Ooh, blockbuster, baby. What the heck? Oh man.
The World Series are bust now. That would definitely put the Astros over the competitive balance tax.
Then we can and we'll wrap it up here. Then we could tweet out like Hubs did from Barstool. We're gonna win the next 10 world championships with Garrett Cole. So, but anyways, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up. It is a late evening. It is a late night. I would love to sit and chat, but we have got to wrap things up. I'll have another post game. I'm not sure who my guest is going to be. I'm working on another one. Who knows? Rip may come back for another roundabout. We'll see if he's there, if we can get someone else on the mix. Eric is out on the golf course. I've seen some pictures. Haven't seen any pictures of him getting hole-in-ones or shooting under par, so don't let him come back talking crap. I'm Htown Wheelhouse with Locked On Astros. Rip, tell the people where they can find you before we go.
You can find me on Twitter at Rip Griffin too.
Awesome. Rip, thank you for joining us. This has been Locked on Astros. We are your team every day, and go Astros.